has begun. Thank you for your interest in today's workshop and that's on writing effective cover letters. My name is Kelly Reif and I'm the student navigator at Savannah Technical College. Today's presenter is Ms. Kelly Morris, Savannah Tech's Career Services Coordinator. Kelly holds a Master of Arts degree in Professional Communication and Leadership from Georgia Southern University, a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies from Augusta State University, and a culinary arts training from Savannah Technical College. In Kelly's current role, she works with business and industry recruiters to identify job openings, provide career development counseling to students, and Kelly also coordinates job fair activities, and she promotes program services to our community. Without further ado, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Kelly.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. Can everyone hear me? Sorry to keep asking. We just want to make sure that everyone can hear the content and that you're comfortable, and that way you can grasp what we're saying. Right on. Very good. Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Kelly Morris, as Kelly Reif, who's the other Kelly. We like to keep it as confusing as possible within student navigation. So we decided to both work in the field and share the same name. So depending on which one of us you're talking to, I will be the other Kelly. But today I am going to chat with you all about cover letters. And so if you've tuned into other sessions, some of the content will be redundant, but I think it's important for new friends that I see we have on this session that everyone knows what services are available through career services. So I'll give an introduction of career services. We'll kind of give a quick run through as what I can do for you as students, and then any members of the community who are tuning in who are not students, it'll let you know what's available to you. And then at the end of the presentation, I will share content, my contact information, so that if you are a student, you can reach out to schedule an appointment. And if you're not a student, you can reach out and I can connect you with our admissions team here, who can kind of give an overview of what programs we have here at Savannah Tech and can get you looped in. And if you're not interested in continuing your education, we have partnerships with other organizations in the community, specifically WorkSource Coastal, who can help the members of the public who would like to utilize career services but aren't students. All right, so today we're going to chat through career services. We're going to talk about cover letters. We're going to talk about their purpose, best practices. I'll show you some examples. And then, of course, if you will all hold your questions until the end, it just helps me get through the content, and then we'll address any questions. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. And Kelly Reif, our student navigator, or other Kelly in this case, other Kelly will corral the questions and get them to me so we can answer them at the end. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so career services, as other Kelly alluded to, we assist students, alumni, and employers by creating opportunities for connections to be made. So any of you who tuned into last week's session know that basically what we do is provide networking opportunities for our students and industry leaders to connect. So before we set up those networking connections, though, we provide career counseling, job search assistance, interview prep, resume assistance to our students and graduates. So if you're tuning in and you're a graduate of Savannah Tech, you still have the ability to take advantage of these great opportunities. Uh-oh, sorry, Sheila. Can everyone hear me? Am I still breaking up? If I need to, I can dial in, if that would make it easier for you. Can everyone else hear me okay? Is Sheila the only one who's having the issue of me breaking up? You can hear me with no lapses? Okay, very good. Sheila, it might be on your end. Very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the feedback. Sheila, it might be on your end with your internet connection. Kelly Reif and I experienced this last week. As did another colleague when we were testing the platform. Sometimes if the internet connection isn't strong enough. Yep, yeah, very good. Brent has too. So bear with us. If I am breaking up for you, this is being recorded, and it will be recorded with no blips and breaks. So this link will be distributed to you after the session. So just bear with us. And if it becomes unbearable, you can log out, and we'll send you the content later. Okay. All right, very good. Okay, so as I said, we offer networking opportunities and we provide career services, anything career related assistance to our students. We also facilitate career fairs, and so career fairs are going to look a little different in the late summer and fall as they have previously. So we'll be hosting them virtually. So if you are a student, stay tuned for those details, or if you're a graduate, you have access to the these career fairs as well. We also, under normal circumstances, host campus tours where we actually bring industry leaders and hiring managers to campus. We give them a tour of the labs. You all have the opportunity to interact and connect on your turf, you know, in the classroom where it might be less daunting for you. And then literally anything else career related that you can think of. Earlier this week, I connected with a faculty member who's attempting to help a student who's newly out of the Marine Corps relocate and find suitable housing. So if it's anything related to life and navigating, you know, career and job placement, chances are I can help you. And if I can't help you directly, we have a whole team of people here at Savannah Tech who can help you. It's one of the benefits of being a student here. All right, so now just to recap, for our students and graduates, we enhance resumes and cover letters. So if you're out there and you haven't been able to tune into these past presentations, we can share the content with you as well as actually help you edit your resume and cover letter. And so we're going to chat through cover letters specifically today. We share resources. So there's some resources and some examples that I'm going to share with you today that are also available. You know, I can email you the links, I can email you the templates, because that's essentially what resumes and cover letters are. They're templates that you're going to fill out and you know, tweak to suit your needs and to tell your story. We facilitate networking events, as we talked about last week. We also host workshops like we're doing now. We're doing them strictly virtually right now, but our hope is hopefully by fall we can come back together, because, you know, there's benefit to and the face-to-face. But for right now, we're happy to share the content with you this way. And then, of course, we offer one-on-one coaching for students and graduates. And the one-on-one coaching is and you know, can be where the magic happens, because it allows for that personalization that a lot of our students want and need, myself included. You know, I've shared this with many people. The cover letter and resume that I use to obtain the job that I have now and my past 4 jobs is the cover letter and resume that I wrote with my career services coordinator when I was in undergrad. I've just continued to build off of it. So absolutely utilize career services. We can positively help you get you to where you want to go. All right, so now cover letters. Let's chat briefly about what a cover letter is and the intent of a cover letter, and then we'll chat through the do's and the don'ts, which to me, the don'ts are more important than the do's. I don't learn anything the easy way. Most everything I learn is by making mistakes. And so the goal here is to share the information with you all in a manner that allows you to understand it depending on what your learning style is, as well as lets you know what I think is most valuable, which is what not to do. So a cover letter is basically meant to convey your personality. So in a normal setting, when you're introducing yourself to someone or you're interacting with someone, you know, you get to shake their hand, you get to have eye contact, you get to tell your story verbally. But the cover letter is your first line of introduction to someone who may hire you. And so you want to make your cover letter memorable. You're not going to want to share any personal details, and we'll chat through all of this later, but you want to make sure that it represents you well, that it's laid out, that it's nice and neat, excuse me. And so you'll want to have a memorable introduction. You're going to want to be specific and organized examples of relevant work and problem solved. And then you'll have a very concise conclusion at the end. And so I'll show you, if you're like myself, I am a visual learner. Well, actually, I'm full immersion. So I have to see it, I have to hear it, and then I have to do it before I actually retain it. But I'll show you, because that's how I first start to retain information. So cover letters, do introduce yourself. Talk about your relevant skills as they relate to the specific job that you're applying for. Highlight your best qualities. Explain why you're going to be a good fit. And then conclude all of that with a call to action. So for those of you who aren't familiar with calls to action and don't have perhaps a sales background, a call to action is a way to put the ball back in the employer's court and to let them know that you're interested and that you welcome the opportunity to chat. Again, I'll show you an example in just a few minutes. Cover letters don't. Don't discuss why you need a job in the cover letter. Employers understand that we all have to earn a living, and that there are some very basic fundamental reasons why we need to work. So it's not necessarily appropriate for you to discuss in a cover letter or in an interview, for example, either. Don't list the information found on your resume. This is a tricky one for students. This is one that often when we're drafting cover letters that students struggle with. Myself included, when I was first getting started writing cover letters, it was like, well, how do I tell my story without being redundant? But I'll show you how. Never address the company. Never use to whom it may concern. So when possible, if you, like for example, when I interviewed for the position that I have now, I did research before I submitted my cover letter, resume, and application for the job, and I found out who the position reported to based on the job description. And then I did a quick little bit of research and found out that I would be reporting at the time to Colonel Pete Hoffman, who is our Vice President of Student Affairs. So my cover letter was addressed to Colonel Hoffman. It was very personal, and that way it gave me, allowed me to go ahead and start facilitating a connection with him and to go ahead and start networking with him, even via the letter. You don't want to have typos and slang in your cover letter. So again, we live in a computer-mediated and abbreviated culture. I drive my husband insane because some days I nearly speak in totes abbreves. I totally speak in abbreviations. It drives him bananas. And so I'll encourage you to not do that in your cover letter. This will be a formal letter. And don't let the word formal intimidate you or frighten you. It's just simply a form and a template that you'll follow. All right. So cover letter do's. These are very similar. If you tuned into our workshop, a resume writing workshop, these are going to be very similar to those do's, because you're going to want to use action verbs. Keep your sentences short and concise. Recruiters are moving very quickly. Hiring managers are moving very fast. We live in a fast-paced world, and so you want to make sure that your content is tight and that you're not using run-on sentences or any extraneous words. Where possible, you quantify things, use numbers, percentages, dollar amounts to convey information. Again, that can help your cover letter and your resume stand out in a sea of words. So without further ado, I think it's important, as I said earlier, let me show you what it looks like. So this is what a normal form letter would follow. This is what a typical business letter, this is what it would look like. So it's going to have your header, which is going to look exactly the same as your header on your resume, because again, you're trying to brand yourself, and so you're trying to start building recognition, and so it helps if you have the same header across your cover letter and resume. It looks really, really nice. Having sat on a lot of interview panels and interviewed many people, when I see a cover letter and a resume in a potential hiree's packet, it just makes them stand out so much better when there's continuity in them. So then, of course, you'll have your date. Then, of course, you'll have your address block for the company that you're applying for. Again, this is some content that I've pulled from the Purdue Owl, and so this is a sample that they had. But they addressed it to Jane Smith. They were able to find out who the director of human resources was, and then they offered a salutation directly to Miss Smith, which is excellent. And then their introduction. So I'm writing to apply for the position of social media manager for Fit Living as advertised on your website careers page. This was important because if you've ever done any hiring, or if you work for a company where you're tracking your metrics as to where you're getting the most bang for your buck when advertising positions, if you tell the recruiter where you heard about the job, that will immediately win you brownie points. That will immediately push you, there's a Girl Scout reference for those of you out there who are Girl Scouts, but that will immediately, make it will stand out. It will show that you have attention to detail. It will show that you're taking note of where you're finding the positions. And then, of course, I have 3 years of experience as a social media assistant for Young Living, and I believe I'm ready to move up as a manager. So that lets the recruiter know first and foremost where you heard about the position. It lets them know just quickly what your past experience is. Again, content that's found on your resume, but your cover letter will serve to condense that for you and to further tell the story. And then it lets them know also that you are ready to move up for a managerial position. And so in your job posting, you mentioned that you want, and again, the body of the letter, and that this will change according to the type of position. And I'll show you a student example in just a second. So you'll have the body where you'll talk about and given responsibility of increase the followers on Instagram, and it tells a bit of a story. And then so again, those metrics that I spoke about earlier, the being able to quantify, is within 6 months, I increased our followings over 50% and increased engagement by 400%. Again, this is content that may be on this person's resume, but it's very, very, very important that they included it, because again, it stands out, it quantifies, it shows the hiring manager. If you're working in this particular case, if you're working as a social media manager, you're going to have to understand metrics, and you're going to have to understand, the importance of building content and having, clearly defined objectives when you're working to build out social media plans. And so again, there's a conclusion. When I saw the job opening, I knew it was the perfect opportunity to offer you both my social media marketing skills and people skills. So again, she's concluded it again by talking about why, he's concluded it rather by talking about exactly why he's appropriate and suited for this position. I've included my resume so you can learn more about my educational background and all of my work experience. And once again, thank you for your time and consideration. And here's the call to action that I was talking about earlier. Feel free to email me or call my cell phone directly. It's okay to include it like this. It's also, the contact information is also included in your letterhead up here, so your header. And then I hope to hear from you soon. That's a call to action. That lets them know that you are really ready and able to talk to them and to hear and to connect with them. And then of course your signature line. Sincerely as appropriate, warm regards. In service is one that I use frequently because, I am a service-oriented person. And so I think it's important that, hiring managers know that I have that in my heart and in my nature. And then of course the name, and then of course you would sign here. All right, so, hang on one second. I'm going to show you an additional, give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to share my screen with y'all, and I want to show you for those of you who are students and who might be worried about how to marry, how to tell your story as a student, I want to show you an example of a student's cover letter. And this was she was just, sorry, hang on 1 sec. This student was entering the workforce for the first time, and I'll show you how we told her story. Can everyone see that okay? Let me go full view. All right, very good. Okay, so again, the student, here's the student's name, phone number, and email address. And then this header looks exactly like this particular student's header for their resume. So it's, is it too small to read? Sheila, you can zoom in if you click on the top corner where it says show view controls. You can zoom into the screen. And here, let me see if I share it, if I stop sharing it the full screen format, and if I share it as just the regular file. All right, very good. Can everyone else see it okay? Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, is it easier to view in this format? Okay, cool, very good. All right, so here, and then so if you are a student or a graduate here, I can share this template with you because this is the template that many of our students have used at this point, because I can share the Word file and you can just copy and paste and tweak this template to suit your own needs. So here you would insert the date, the company name, contact person, address, etc. The address block for the particular company and hiring manager. In this case, this particular student did not know who the hiring manager was, so we left it blank. And so that's okay to do. Ideally, though, as I said earlier, you would want to direct your cover letter to a specific person. So again, I was pleased to note on the website, again, you'll plug it in and the website will change. Maybe you saw it on, our Career Connections site or LinkedIn or wherever you saw the position that the company is seeking to hire blank position. Please accept this letter and resume as my expressed interest in the position. Again, for this particular student, we chose to keep it very, very concise and very tight because I had already done an introduction to this student and had given a little bit of her background, but I'm just showing you different types of cover letters and different types of examples though. So here's her story. I'm a recent graduate of the Savannah Technical College Healthcare Assistant Front Office program. I am interested in starting a career in the medical field. My experience as a call representative and a hostess has given me a strong background in communication skills and customer service skills. Again, we tell a little bit of her story. And then we tie it back to why she applied for this position. I am seeking full-time employment with a dynamic company that will allow me to use my skills in education and prior life experience to grow professionally. In addition to my enthusiasm for performing well, I would bring the dedication and attention to detail necessary to get the job done. Attached, you will find my electronic cover letter or electronic copy of my resume for your review. Please feel free to contact me at any time if further information is needed. And again, thank you for your time and consideration. And then here's the closing. And so again, as I said, this is a template, one of many that you can use. As I said earlier, I have been using the same cover letter I graduated college in 2008. I finished undergrad. So for 12 years now, I've been using pretty much the same information. Again, the cover letter changes and I build off of it, or I build and continue to grow the information and the content as I grow and gain more skills. And so these are just examples though. And so again, I'm happy to share the working file with you. If we're working individually, we'll take, often what I get with students, for those of you who tuned into last week's session, we talked about networking and we talked about building your elevator pitch. This content that you see right here, is basically that student's elevator pitch. We had her write it out as we were practicing for her interview and practicing for her to network. And so again, a lot of what we do here at Savannah Tech are we're building blocks. So we set you up and you take the blocks and you continue to build your foundation, and then from there you move up. And so this is basically what you see right here is a elevator pitch, and it's really cool. And so once you do it for the first time, as we know, is always the most daunting. And so once you do it for the first time, you get to continue to feel more comfortable. It gets easier. For those of you who go to the gym and who exercise, it is the same with repetition. So, think of this as lifting weights. The more weights you lift, the stronger you get, the more comfortable you get, the better off you are, right? Kelly or Brent, I'm not sure who's hosting at this point. If y'all can share my info on the screen again. If not, I'll pop up the presentation one more time. It's no big deal if I need to share it. Thanks, Kelly. Other Kelly. And I can do it this way, Kelly, if it's causing you pain. It always does when I switch back and forth between the screens. I don't know why it does that, but it does it. That's okay. Here, no worries. Here, let me do it this way. Oh, you got it. Perfect. Thank you, Kelly. No, that's great. It takes a minute every time. I'm prepared for it. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to either unmute yourself or type the questions in the comment section. And then again, of course, if you need additional assistance, whether you're a student or you're interested in becoming a student, feel free to reach out to me via email. I'm at this point only taking telephone calls and virtual appointments, so we can set up and do a video chat if you're comfortable with that, or we can just schedule a time to chat on the phone. but reach out via email, kmorris@savannatech.edu. I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to share additional information, share the resources with you. And I'm happy to continue chatting today about anything cover letter related. So if anyone has any questions, free to type them out. Cover letters are, for me, they're the final piece of the puzzle before we send a student out to begin applying for jobs. I like to get them comfortable with their elevator pitch and just meet with them. Then we work on their resume, and then we build their cover letter. So does anyone have any questions today? And I'm happy to continue showing examples of content. Happy to continue showing you additional types of cover letters. If you'd like, it's up to y'all. Anyone? That's okay. No worries. Kelly or Dr. Stubbs, does anyone else have anything to add? Oh, here we go. Absolutely, Sheila. Positively. I will email these resources out. I'll send them to the team at Economic Development who's hosting this great series for us, and they will get them. They will get them to you as well. And then I can also, if you're a student, this content will go out to you next week as well. Yep, there you go. And Brent just chimed in too. So yeah, you'll get all the content. We want you to have all the resources you need. And I will send the working file of the cover letter draft. So again, it's a template, so you can tweak it to suit your needs. Any other questions? Sheila, that was a great one. Thank you. Any other questions out there? Would anyone like to see more examples, or do you all feel pretty comfortable with the cover letters and have a general understanding of what's needed for them? All right, very good. Well, that's all the content I have, unless anyone has any other questions. Thanks, Kelly. Other Kelly. Very good.